Hello, people. Hello, people. How's it going? Don't get me wrong. Steve McQueen is my favorite actor. He's been my favorite actor for as long as I can remember. I like most of all his movies. To me, he was a great actor. I like Steve McQueen. He's my hero in a lot of ways. At least in movies, anyway. But this book, I I know why the person who let me reading it gave it to me because they knew I liked Steve McQueen, and I appreciate them allowing me to read their book. But I'm sorry, books that he talks about himself too much. The author talks about himself way too much. It's a parallel biography. Half of it's about Steve McQueen, and half of it's about the author. I don't care about the author. I'm sorry, I don't. I care about Steve McQueen. When I read a biography about Steve McQueen, I want it to be about the person it's entitled after, not the author. Now, I get it. It's the spiritual journey of Steve McQueen to becoming a Christian later in his life before he dies of cancer. I get that. And it does talk about Steve's his whole life. It talks about a lot of things about Steve McQueen, stuff I already knew. I mean, it's when it talks about Steve McQueen, when it talks about the main character, it's informative, it's interesting, it's okay, it's good. It talks about his ups and downs, his family life, his getting into the movies, his military career of sorts. It talks about his personality and how hard it was to get along with him. And he didn't make it easy for people to get along with him because he was a very competitive guy. He really, really was. He was very competitive. And he wanted to be a good actor, a great actor. He was difficult. But I care about that part, not the life of the author. It just, I was hoping more out of this book because I've heard of this book before. And I get it. It's about his spiritual journey, it's about his pursuit of something more out of life than all the Hollywood fame and money and fortune and women and this, that, and the other. And for the most part, sorry, for the most part, the book does that. For the most part, I've read better. For the most part, it does a good job of giving a narrative of Steve McQueen's career, of his movies, of his wife, his first wife, his other wives. I think it was married 3 times. I'm doing this by memory. But he keeps interrupting it with the author keeps interrupting it with his own stuff, his own life. I get it. There are some similarities to him and Steve McQueen. Well, welcome to the human race. They're not that particular. They're normal. Let's see if I find some decent pictures here. I'm trying to avoid the author. Here's some pictures of Steve. One's in the military in Cincy. He was in the Marines. Steve McQueen enlisted in the United States Marines in 1947 when he was 17. He was assigned to a tank unit and credits the organization with giving him much needed discipline and jumping off point acting. I mean, he was an interesting guy. I like him. But the author keeps interrupting the narrative with the author's story. I don't care about the author's story. I get it. On some level, I get it. But I don't care. I keep saying that for a reason because I don't care. I've had to skip a lot of reading this book because he even starts talking about his own journey and his own this, that, and the other. I was like, dude, you're probably a nice guy. I get it. But at the same time, I don't care. I want to talk about Steve McQueen. I'm interested in his spiritual journey, his journey as a human being, his acting career, the things he did or didn't do, people he got along with and the people he didn't get along with. Anyway, more pictures of Mr. McQueen. I'm trying to get it right this time. Unlike yesterday's attempt at destruction. I'm trying to avoid any pictures of the author. I don't care about the author. And what I mean by that, I probably have to, clarify that. I'm not reading this to read about him. And half of this book is about him. More pictures, Mr. McQueen. Trying to get this straight is always fun because I gotta figure out how to do this by the angle. But anyway, the pictures are cool. The pictures are very cool. The pictures are cool. I think he should have, when he was in Towering Inferno, I still think he should have at least been nominated for Best Supporting Actor and won. But that's just me. There's Stevie Boy again, and the Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen, playwright. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not a bad movie. I mean, he was trying something new. He was trying something different. Him and Papillon. I liked him in Papillon. Let's see. Let's see. It has figures of him. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't. When I read a book about a person, I don't. I've read other biographies, by the way, like that. I tried to read a biography of Jimmy Stewart, and the author kept interrupting with their own personal views on Stewart's politics, on Stewart's this, that, mostly his politics. It's like, lady, I'm not reading this to hear about your politics or what you think, or that you, whatever. I'm reading this about Jimmy Stewart. I couldn't finish the book. I literally just said, I can't finish this book. This is about you, the author, and not the subject. Steve McQueen was interesting. He really was. He was an interesting guy. He was a good actor. He was a very good actor. He The Great Escape, great movie. Towering Inferno, as I said. His last film, The Hunter, which was not too bad. I mean, he was dying at that point, but he did a pretty good job. Magnificent Seven, Cincinnati Kid, Papillon, Towering Inferno. I mean, I liked pretty much all his movies. I don't think I've ever seen a movie I didn't like about it with him in it. But I would read this book, yes. I wouldn't recommend it for him. I would recommend it for him. I'm sorry, I've skipped a lot from this book because the author just kept interjecting his own life in it. And it's like, dude, I don't care. You may want to draw parallels to this, that, and the other. That's fine. But don't spend entire chapters doing it. It's not why I'm reading this book. I'm interested in Steve McQueen and how he became a Christian. I'm interested in Steve McQueen's spiritual journey. I'm interested in Steve McQueen's life, his movies, his relationships, his existence as a human being. I mean, there's that's very good picture of the Mustang. Oh, Bullet. Bullet's a very good movie. There's a picture of Bullet in here, is there? Yeah, there is. I already showed this picture, though. Didn't I? Did I show this picture already? I think I did, but I'll just show it again anyway. I gotta put an angle. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm sorry, but I give this book a C. I mean, it talks about its subject, but it keeps interrupting its subject. I mean, it's like it can't. It's mostly about the author. He interrupts too much. And his story is not boring. Believe me, it's not that his story is dull or boring or uninteresting. It is as a separate book, not as a biography of the main character, Steve McQueen. But anyway, the people who gave me this book to read, I gotta give it back to them eventually. Look, they know I like Steve McQueen, so on and so forth. They thought I'd like this book, and I don't dislike it, that I wouldn't recommend it, but I got too many sidetracks into the author's life. I'm sorry. It's like, dude, I get it. You're trying to draw parallels because a lot of ways maybe there is similarities, but the book is supposed to be about Steve McQueen and his life, and as I keep saying, his spiritual journey, not yours. I mean, maybe if you written at the very end, the last chapter was about him, the author, and the parallels or some similarities, that's fine. I would still have skipped it. That's me. But, anyway, it's not really a criticism. I just don't, I get very frustrated with authors who will write a biography and interject themselves constantly into the biography. I mean, Anyway, but it's not a bad book. I mean, it's just not something I really enjoyed a whole lot, and I wish I did. Because I do, as I keep saying, I like Steve McQueen. He died at 50. Glasses. Oh no, I can't see. But I liked his movies. I liked all his movies pretty much. Sorry, I can't see. Don't send me a new glasses. Oh look, Clark Kent. Not. But anyway, I mean, as I said, overall, read the Steve McQueen parts because that's the only part that interests me. The author parts, I skipped them. I literally would skip them when he talks about himself. It's like, dude, I get it, but write your own book about yourself, or write a chapter at the end of the book, or the beginning of the book. But don't go back and forth. It's distracting. Maybe that's my problem. It was distracting. I like the subject. The subject interested me. I'm not interested in you. Sorry, I'm not, dude. I get it. I think this book would be cut in half in size line. It's not a very big book, but anyway, if you have other people out there like Steve McQueen and you want to read about Steve McQueen and you don't mind the interruptions, if you do, I would still say read it because it is interesting about him, about Steve McQueen. Recommend it. Share it with someone. Share this video with somebody. Let them know about the book. Like, comment. And yes, I think Steve McQueen should have been at least nominated for Best Supporting Actor in Towering Inferno. I like the Towering Inferno, despite the fact that I know a firefighter and she doesn't like Towering Inferno. I wonder why. Because a lot of it is kind of Hollywoodish. Yes, I do need all those books. Anyway. Okay. I got to my 10-minute mark. Well, over the 10-minute mark. But, yes. I'm sorry. I want a Steve McQueen book about Steve McQueen, not about the author and Steve McQueen. It is a windy day out there. It's just, I know I'm changing subjects. It's been very windy the last few days. But anyway, he was an interesting guy. Died at 50, died young. Let's see, anything else? Well, anyway, you behave yourselves, people, because I'm not going to. Later.